Hi, and welcome to this episode of Our Road to Camelot. As we are counting down the days to hitting the road this year, we thought we would kind of do a bit of an update.
It went so fast.
It really did. This winter just flew by. Anyways, before we get into it...
Notice I'm trying to grow my hair out.
Yeah, that looks really good.
I don't know. We'll see. It gets trimmed.
Well, let's get into all that and everything else right after this.
Okay.
Okay, so this episode is all about, do you buy brand new or do you buy used? There's a lot of pros and cons, and you talk to one group of people and they're in the camp of, oh, you never buy new. And there's the other group that says, you
don't want to buy used.
Yeah, there's certain things with used. So, I don't know if we're actually going to take sides, though we kind of did. But with that being said, we want to give you, we want to give you the flat out pros and cons of what we've seen. And after owning a few RVs and then selling them, getting rid of them, I kind of see both sides of the coin here. So first of all, we got our notes right in front of us here. So let's see. So whether you buy, quality of the build will always matter.
Always.
And Dawn has a lot of stories, you've heard them before, but you can mention the story with you. So go ahead, you're...
Basically, I worked for an RV dealership in Las Vegas for a short time, and it was in the warranty department. So I got to see all the different models, different brands, issues with each one that came in, things like that. By the way, if you need to put a screw into something, your handle came loose, please do it yourself.
You don't have to put that in a warranty. Yeah.
No, it's not warranted. But it is, please.
And as luck would have it, she was working at this place right about the time we decided that we're going to sell off everything and travel. So This was great information to know.
So there were two models that I felt had the best warranty and the best builds. And we decided for us that the Keystone was a better fit.
Keystone brand, definitely.
Yes,
we love the Keystone brand.
Absolutely.
Long before we ever had any affiliation with them. We
always looked at these two, but then when I went into, like I said, the warranty department, really got to research, work with, companies, work with warranty from their companies. Keystone always came through. Always.
Yeah. So we'll refer to it as Keystone, and the other company we'll refer to as SOB, some other brand. What?
It's not an SOB.
It's some other brand.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
But it's a good brand.
It is. It's some other brand. Exactly. So anyways, with this in mind, we are looking at that, and the fact is you do get what you pay for. There's a lot of really inexpensive companies out there that sell you some pretty cheaply built stuff, and I would not recommend that new or used on those, because as Dawn found out, those are some of the brands that the warranty issues, there was very poor customer support. The company did not want to honor the warranties. There's all sorts of issues with those, so we definitely won't mention any names there. So anyways, the number one thing that you always hear, as far as pros and cons, is the price. Mind you, obviously, if you buy new, you are going to pay a lot more than you're going to pay if you buy used. But once again, with that being said, if you really do your homework and not just, buying something locally, if you can travel to go pick up your fifth wheel, or you happen to be lucky enough to live in the neighborhood where these things are being built, you're going to get a much better price on them out there. So on our Cougar, we've talked about that. We traveled from Las Vegas all the way to Michigan to buy our first fifth wheel, the Cougar that we started traveling in. And we got an absolutely incredible price on a rig that was virtually brand new. It was a 2018, we bought in 2019. But we did some research and found out that we got it so cheap because we're pretty sure that company used this for their office whenever they went to RV shows. So they had to sell it as used, and it still had all the tags hanging. And Yeah, so it was really an amazing deal that we got. So if you do your homework, you're not going to necessarily have to spend that much for a new or near new fifth wheel.
Especially if you're willing to travel. So.
Especially willing to travel. Yeah. And if you're okay buying last year's model that they're trying to get off the showroom floor so they can bring in the new models, that also comes into play.
Yes.
So, those are a few things to be looking out for.
Absolutely.
Now, for used, I've seen a lot of used going for what people were asking for new or close to it. So do your homework again. What is the best possible price you can get for new? And if you are looking for used, make sure that those prices aren't too close together, because they really should not be.
No.
Okay. I do want to add one more thing that I meant to bring up, and that is the fact that we are talking about warranty and getting the right company to back you up. The reason why we went with Keystone, they are an amazing company. We bought a brand new, right off the factory floor, 2024 High Country 385BR. Was it perfect coming off? Unfortunately, they never are. There's always going to be some issues. And that's one of the pros that people talk about used. But here's the thing. We had an issue with one of the air conditioners, and in their defense, when it was going through all the testing and all the inspections, they turned the air on and it was blowing cold, and it was colder inside and it was cold outside too. Okay, so we finally got to hot weather. It wasn't blowing cold, but we immediately talked to Keystone. They said, okay, where are you going to be? Are you going to be someplace for a few days? And we were a couple of days away from getting to Las Vegas, where we were going to be for a week. We called ahead to a mobile RV service. They who reached out to Keystone. Keystone reached out to them, and they worked it out that mobile RV service, which is actually somebody we knew personally, so we knew they were a very high reputable organization. In fact, I'll give their information to you. So if you're ever in Las Vegas and you need work done, call this guy. As soon as we got there, we called him up, said, yeah, we're here. He came out the very next day, went through did the troubleshooting and found the problem and fixed it. Didn't have to replace it. It was a simple little issue, and he replaced it. And we had a similar thing with the flush valve for the black tank flush. So he came out and fixed the two things under warranty. Happened all within a short period of time. Boom, we're back in business. So that's it. You get what you pay for, and that comes also in service and warranty. Back to the video.
One thing that you can do if you're considering a used unit and you really looks great, looks everything, you get an independent inspector to look at that unit.
Yeah, they do
are
that for your
out
house.
there.
You do it if you bought a house. You'd get an inspector. Get an inspector for this.
Yes, absolutely.
Very important.
And if the people that you're buying this unit from say, oh, you don't really need that, it's not that important, no, get the inspector.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because you're going to need it. That's a really important thing.
Yeah.
So,
one other thing with pricing as well, I want to bring this up too. When you look at pricing, there is a base price. And if you look at the base price and think, wow, why is this one so much more expensive? And when the base price is thousands of dollars less. Look at the equipment. Mm-hmm. First of all, does it have solar? How much solar on it? Does it have upgraded items? Like our Cougar, we upgraded to the MORride steps. Mm-hmm. We added extra batteries in the thing. We had a brand new antenna on it. There was a lot of new stuff that we did to that Cougar.
Right.
So that actually brings the price up. Our new Montana High Country, we ordered it with the 440i solar. We also have slide toppers all the way around. Mm-hmm. Now, we didn't, but if we had bought it with a generator, that's going to put the price way up. Or if we had a bigger solar package, that would push the price up. Mm-hmm. So make sure that you add in all those little details that people may do.
Absolutely.
That would actually bring the price up. We added a second air conditioner on our Cougar. So these are things that you need to look at as well. Those could vary the price in both directions. So if you look at something and it's priced high and it doesn't have any extras whatsoever, then you know what? Keep looking. Just keep looking around. Make and model number. Those vary by a lot. You may look at one, like for instance, Keystone has the Cougar, the High Country, and the full-on Montana with the almost exact same floor plan mid-bunk, like the mid-bunk we're sitting in right now. So basically they vary a lot in price. And why? Well, when you look at the differences between the three models, it all comes into the build. There's a lot of differences in the build, but the floor plans may not all be identically the same. We went with the High Country because this floor plan fit us so much better, because we have the door right in front of me. That's why I got sunlight coming on me. We have a wall that on the other side of that wall is where our pantry and all that stuff is, where if you were in the actual Montana, there's a door over there and you lose that extra kitchen space for storage. So,
and ladies, we know what kitchen space means.
Yeah. So I could do without hydraulic levelers and go with electronic levelers, because that's a big price difference.
Yeah.
The Montana has the hydraulic, the High Country has the electric, but they both have the drop frame that the Cougar doesn't have, which gives you more space underneath. So there's a lot of give and take. Do your homework. So now one more thing with new as a pro, you get all the latest gadgets. I don't know. Yeah. I am a tech geek. And if you look at past... No. Yeah, you look at past some of the past videos just recently, and the whole Victron Connect, where I can monitor the solar. Some of the models have the in-command systems where everything is done, off your phone for that matter. You can really keep track of everything and run stuff.
Right.
So you get all the latest gadgets, the latest technologies. And that's a good thing with new, because you would not necessarily have that on a used model unless you bought a fairly new used model. Another good thing about new versus used, a lot of RV parks, especially RV resorts, you age out. What I'm saying is you age out. Once the rig is over 10 years old, they won't let you come in. So unless you bought a rig that is less than 10 years old, you're not going to be allowed to go to those parks. Now, what you will find on a used, if you don't care about those kind of resorts, you can get a great price when you pass that 10-year mark, because now those rigs are blocked from a number of locations, and the people that are selling it usually know, or you can let them know, hey, your rig's over 10 years old, there's all these places I can't go, are you willing to drop the price? That might get you in. So that's one more thing to kind of think about.
One of the pros with a used rig is a lot of this is already taken care of.
Yeah, people got it through the warranty stages, but you no longer have that 3-year warranty.
No.
When you
do buy, if you buy through a company rather than a person, they will offer you that extended warranty, and I would recommend taking that.
I would recommend that every
definitely.
Time.
Or see if you buy it through an individual, whether or not you can get an extended warranty through an independent company. That would be it. Cons, again, buyer beware.
I like the buyer beware one.
The history of the rig, how it was maintained, where it was kept. Are you inheriting problems that the owners may have themselves have created?
And here's a bit of a disclosure here. That Cougar, we traveled the summer of 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and this last summer for most of 2023. So for 5 summers, this thing has crisscrossed across the United States. And we put a lot of miles on that. Now, yes, I did the best I could at keeping up on all the maintenance. I did roof inspections. I did repairs constantly. But things happen. And I felt guilty, the fact that I knew, and this is something that you got to be checking this, and I may do a whole episode on maintenance and what you should do every time you bring the slides in and bring the slides out. I didn't know this at first, but there's this material under the slide. It's called it's a Darko material. It's I can't even tell you what it is made of. I'll look it up, and if I find it, I'll put it down. But sliding in and out, the slightest little things can start tearing that up on the sides.
That little pebble you picked up?
Yeah, and those start tearing into the linoleum flooring inside the rig. And it gets really a mess. And I've seen people lately talking about that. Well, what can I do? And somebody said duct tape. No duct tape. No duct tape.
No.
Get it professionally taken care of. There's these things called skis. And in fact, on this brand new model, we plan to go back to Affinity RV Group. They do repairs there. They're right next door. Now they're in Indiana,
Oh,
right
in
next
Indiana.
door to
Sorry.
the Keystone factory.
Yes.
And we plan to just pay to have skis put on before we have a problem. So that's kind of a big thing. We waited. I've had them put on just before we took it in to trade it in, only because it was so bad. I wanted them to see, hey, I'm taking care of issues. We want to get the highest price possible on the trade-in.
And we did.
And we did. But were there other issues? Most likely, yes. It was an older rig that has crisscrossed the country for 5 years.
And had 2 big huskies.
Yeah, 2 huskies in it, and the fact is, as well, when you think of those, we did have an actual blowout in it, and I did the repair to replace the Darko under the wheel well that got torn up, and I did replace that. But you've got things that happen with these rigs, and you don't know what that previous owner has done. How much did they drive it? How little did they drive it? Did they maintain it? Was there any major leaks that are hidden away? You just don't know.
Well, unfortunately, one thing that we didn't know about, but we found out rather quickly, was that our frame was cracked. And
well, okay,
that was something we didn't know
it wasn't
about.
The frame that was cracked. That's not.
Okay, what was
There's
it?
all this stuff about frame flex, and
Yeah.
that's a whole nother issue.
I guess.
In fact, if you're thinking, well, what about frame flex? Big Truck Big RV YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the description below. He did a very in-depth interview with Lippert on the frames and what frame flex actually is. I watched part of it. I plan to watch the rest of it. Very informative. But this was not frame flex. But what it was the actual leaf spring hanger that your leaf springs attached to the bottom of the rig that actually had a crack in it. I don't know how long that crack had been there. It looked like it, by the fact there was a little bit of rust that was in it, and it looked kind of old. It was there a while. So we wound up having that leaf spring hanger replaced in Oklahoma on one of our return trips back home. Right. And
guy did an amazing job.
We found a welder who works on big rigs.
Yep.
And he actually
18-wheelers.
Yeah, he welded the leaf spring holder on that. And when we got ready to sell, I was looking at it, and it perfect. Still perfect. But you don't know. Those things could be there. And one more reason why get an inspector before you lay down all that money.
Inspector. They're out there.
Let's see. I had bonus info here. If you're buying a towable, if you don't have a truck to tow your trailer, this is a big one. If you don't have a truck to tow your trailer, decide on the trailer first before you buy the truck. I've talked about this in previous episodes.
Yes.
But it is so important. And don't listen to the truck dealership. They're going to tell you whatever you want to hear. So you're looking at that big 35, 40-foot fifth wheel, and you don't want to... Toy
hauler.
Yeah, you don't want to...
sure, your 150 will pull it.
They'll never say that, but they will probably tell you the 250 will.
Yeah.
But the 250 is not the one to go with. You're gonna want the 1 ton. So
and
make sure that you do that.
Also, whether you want dualies or not, we went back and forth on that for a long time. Check into that and really research
and
on
a lot
your
of
truck
that has
whether you
to
want
do
dualies or not.
That has a lot to do with payload weight.
Yes.
But it's not just the tow ratio. Our truck is capable of towing 20,000 pounds. Would I want to hook up a monster toy hauler that comes out at about 19,000 or 20,000 pounds? Yeah, it'll tow it, but will it stop? And how much weight is going into the bed of that truck?
Exactly.
We did not get dualies. I think right now we're at the max weight that I would ever want to put on a truck that does not have dualies.
Correct.
And if we ever have to trade in the truck, I would probably heavily rethink dualies if we still have this fifth wheel, which I think we will. But we managed quite well coming home. We're going to do some things to lighten the load this summer, so we're not pulling
it's
so
always
much,
downsizing.
Always
downsizing.
But make sure that you have that. Now, if you already have the truck and you think, I want to tow and I want to use my truck, and you have a 150, you're limited to how big of a rig you're going to be able to get. So make sure you do the research. It's not just tow ratio. You got to look at the payload. There are things you can do to beef up the payload on your existing truck, such as air suspension, airbags, beefing up the leaf springs. There's a lot of things you can do to upgrade that. But to be honest, if you don't have the truck yet, just by the time you finish beefing up the truck, you're already at the price of that 1 ton. So there you go.
There you go.
All right, there's one last thing that I want to bring up, and that is when you do finally decide to purchase, whether you do purchase used or you purchase new, there are going to be things you might want to upgrade right away. Mm-hmm. And I would highly suggest if you can get that part of the build, do it. Now, there's pros and cons on slide toppers. I personally love them. We have had no problems with the Cougar with the slide toppers. We have the slide toppers put on this one. People will say, well, sometimes they stretch, the wind, they could cause trouble. Well, we haven't seen that. It's a personal thing. So if you're doing a build from a factory, is it cheaper to get it aftermarket? Possibly, yes. But when you get it done at the factory, it's factory installed, it's part of the warranty, and it filters into your payments that you're going to be making on it if you're doing payment plan. Other things you might want to think about upgrading: do I want a washer and dryer, or do I not want a washer dryer? Those you can generally get put in a lot cheaper aftermarket. And just make sure that the rig is pre-plumbed. We decided not to.
Correct.
Because it takes a long time to wash a load of clothes, and it takes so much water, you're never going to do it boondocking. So keep that in mind. Now, we have had a lot of upgrades ourselves since we got this, and we've done it in the last few weeks. We added the keyless entry, we added the more ride safety rail, and
that's a big plus.
And a little bonus, getting that little cord keeper on the front. We added 2 different TV mounts in here. And that's you're probably going to have just seen that last week. I'll probably put that before this one. But we had a TV in the bedroom and in here. There's a lot of extras. We're going to be getting the skis put on the slides over the summer. We're talking about upgrading the solar to doubling it from 440 to 880. And a soft start on the air conditioner. So these are little upgrades you might think about. Now, will that increase the value of the rig? Yes, it will. And if you have all that stuff done, it's an excellent chance that you might get a little bit more from it when you sell it than what you paid. But think about it. If you buy a house and put in a pool, are you going to be able to sell it for what you paid for the house plus what you paid for the pool? Never. Doesn't happen that way. You will get a little bit more out of it, just not a lot more out of it. So make sure whatever you do, the upgrades, I'm planning on keeping it, or we're planning on keeping this. We want to be as comfortable as we want to be. We're going to do upgrades that, I don't care. I don't expect to get all the money back ever, but at least it will raise the value of the rig. I think that's about all I wanted to say about this matter. So, was there anything else you wanted to add?
Happy Easter?
Happy Easter. Yeah, I think this is going to come out right about Easter. No, Easter's next Sunday. It won't be. This is happy belated Easter.
Is it next Sunday or the Sunday after?
Because, right now, we're at the 25th of March. So, I don't know when you're going to see this.
By the way, Steve's birthday's tomorrow.
Hey, thank you in retrospect. Okay, so that's going to do it for this episode. Make sure to hit that subscription button.
And hit that bell, let you know when we post every Sunday at 2.
Thumbs up for good measure. And happy travels. We'll see you on the road.
Cilantro.